Hello guys, welcome back to the False Nines YouTube channel. Welcome back to another Scenario Sundays, the third one of these I'm doing. I didn't do one last week because I didn't have one ready, one that I could think of. And I need ideas. So if you have an idea for something that could potentially happen in the future, in real life, or something you'd like to see happen in the future, whether it be a new signing or a new manager, something like that, then do let me know in the comments and I'll try and see if I can, make it happen. I'll try and make it something that no other YouTuber's done. For example, people are doing, there's certain videos that people are doing and you don't want to do them again because you'll be accused of copying them and you'll end up with probably the same kind of result. But there's one I want to do which I can't, and it's to move another country to another continent so they can play it in a different continental competition. For example, it would be maybe to move England to South America and see how England do in the Copa America. That's something I want to do, but I did manage to move the continent. But as soon as I actually tried to load a game and get it moving, it crashes, and it happened 3 times in like an hour. So I'm gonna try and get that done if I can. If you have any ideas of how to get around that, let me know in the comments. If you're actually any good with the editor, or you know anything about the game, anything about why the game would be crashing for that reason, do let me know, because I have no idea about that kind of stuff. But today it's going to be focusing on 2 teams in the Bundesliga, one more than the other. But the first team, the main focus for this experiment, is Borussia Dortmund. Now they're under the best of times of it this season, and that is because of, well, a number of things have been pointed as possible reasons for their downfall. They're not doing so bad at the moment. They could still push for European qualification, but they found themselves at the bottom of the table a few times this season, and dancing with relegation. They've seemed to have done a bit better recently and found themselves in a good position. I think they won all their games in February, but if I'm not mistaken, they did really well. And the reasoning for that, some people have said that it's because Bayern Munich bought all their players and that Bayern Munich are essentially destroying the club as their rivals. Well, I've amended that. What I've done is I have moved players that went to Bayern Munich back to Dortmund. Those 2 players being this one here, Mario Götze, and this one here, Robert Lewandowski. What I've also done is, well, what this game's done, because it's the winter update, Marco Reus has signed a new contract, so he now has a contract until 2019. He's injured at the moment because he's always injured at the start of the save. He now has a new contract, so that was another reason why they picked up their form, because they weren't sure about whether they were going to lose Reus or not. But now they've signed a new deal, things seem to have picked up, because Reus is very much tipped to either go to Bayern Munich or to come to the Premier League, which would have been awesome. But it looks like it's going to stay at Dortmund for the foreseeable future. What I've also done is the players that have been brought in to replace Reus and to replace Götze and Lewandowski, for example, Immobile and Pierre Aubameyang, have gone back to their respective clubs. So Aubameyang's gone back to Saint Etienne, and Immobile went back to wherever it was he was before. I've forgotten where that was. And as for Bayern Munich, that is the other team that I'll be sort of having a quick look at in this experiment. No, not Kitzingen. FC Bayern. I have also brought in players that they'd sold and then brought in Götze. So Mario Gomez and Mario Mandzukic are back at Bayern Munich. So is Niels Petersen, but he is on loan at Freiburg at the moment. So that's what I've done basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead to 2015, to the end of the first season, and see what happened between the 2 teams, and see if these movements in players back to their original clubs, essentially the strikers in the transfer windows never happened. The strikers that happened in the past 2 transfer windows never actually happened. That's basically what is this experiment's about. So we're going to skip ahead to May 2015, and we're going to see where the guys finish after 1 year. I'll join me very shortly. Okay, we are at the end of the first season, 31st of May 2015 now. Let's go to the Bundesliga and see who finished where. So the playoffs, looks like Greuther Fürth are the team relegated maybe? I think that's what that means. But let's have a look at the league table. Well, Köln, Mainz and Paderborn. Oh, Köln are in the playoff, of course. So Mainz and Paderborn relegated. Hanover get to the Europa League, probably through winning a domestic trophy. It will move from the bottom up. So they win the German Cup. They beat Bayern in extra time in the German Cup. Hanover did. Bayern won the Bundesliga by by 2 points. Schalke came second. Borussia Dortmund came third place. So, yeah. Well, I was hoping they'd get a bit closer. They were 11 behind Bayern in the end. Hamburg round out the top 4. Frankfurt and Werder Bremen, the other 2 teams in the Europa League, round out the top 6. Wolfsburg finished 8th. So, yeah, interesting stuff. So, Bayern Munich. So, Dortmund are the team we're looking at most of all. So, let's have a look at their fixtures, see how they did. Let's first of all look at the Bundesliga. So, quite a few defeats at the start of the season. I think that might be why they slipped. But, well, after that, they did pretty well. Didn't actually draw a lot of games. Only 3, 4, 5, 6 draws. Not a lot. But, you know, those defeats at the start of the season, I think, might have cost them. Yeah, a home defeat against Cologne on the second day, not great. 2-0 home defeat. 6-0 win against Stuttgart stands out as a big win there. A loss at Hertha Berlin at home. A loss to Schalke at home. So, a lot of home defeats I think would have cost them. If they'd have done some damage in there, they might have actually been a bit closer and maybe even won it. So that's a shame. How did they do in the German Cup? They lost to Mönchengladbach in the 3rd round, beating Heidenheim and Karlsruhe in the first 2 rounds. Super Cup was against Bayern Munich and they lost that 2-1. How did they do in the Champions League? Oopsie. They got to the quarterfinals where they lost to Manchester City 5-1 on aggregate. In the group they had Atletico Madrid, Monaco and Galatasaray. Not an easy group, but they got through it. 2 wins against Monaco, 2 against Atletico, a win against Galatasaray in Turkey, but they lost to them 3-2 at home. They then beat Basel 4-1 on aggregate in the last 16. So pretty decent by Dortmund. Have a look at their players, see who did well. First of all, actually, did they make any transfers? They didn't sign anyone. They sold Kefkir Özbek, sold Papastafopoulos to Liverpool for $5.5 million, and also sold Matthias Ginter to Bayern for $4.2 million. So, where are these players that went to Dortmund? Well, Lewandowski's there. Let's see how he did back at Borussia Dortmund. 21 goals in 32 appearances, all of them starts, 4 assists, man of the match 4 times, average 7.46, so it looks like he did pretty darn well for himself. So yeah, that's good to see. Where is Mario Götze? Here he is. Götze, 28 league appearances, 1 of those came from the bench, 10 goals, 6 assists, man of the match 5 times, 7.19, still quite good, but I was hoping it would be a bit higher than that. Never mind. Got 13 in all competitions, also getting 3 goals in Europe, so that's good to see. Götze got some goals, but their best performer was Mats Hummels, 7.6 average, so that's impressive. Subotic also doing well as a defender. That's the backup goalkeeper, played a few games. Hoffman 46 games and got 11 goals. Saar played 12 games, got an over 7. So yeah, who are their better scorers? So Lewandowski and Götze with 27 and 13 respectively. Hoffman with 11. Royce, after signing a new deal, got 10 goals. Gundogan and Mkhitaryan with 7 each. Campi with 6. Kagawa with 6. Adrian Ramos with 6. Jojic, Bender and Leitner on 3 each. Dux on 2, and then 5 players on 1. So it looks like they did okay, Dortmund. How about Bayern Munich? How did they do in other competitions? We know they won. Oops, I did that before. We know they won the Bundesliga, but how did they do elsewhere? So let's have a look at their Bundesliga results first of all. So they were unbeaten for the first 6, but again, look, they had a lot of defeats as well. So I guess it was just they didn't get a lot of points compared to others. So a 3-1 home defeat against Hoffenheim, losing to Mönchengladbach and Stuttgart and Dortmund. 3-0 home defeat against Frankfurt. But then the rest of the season they only lost 2 games, and again they won a lot. They didn't draw that many, only 3, 4, 5 draws. So one less than Dortmund. So that's really why they finished top. You know, a lot of wins, not a lot of draws. German Cup, we know they went out in the final. They lost the final to Hanover in extra time. They beat Waldkirch, Frankfurt, St. Pauli, Freiburg and Werder Bremen on the way there. We know they won the Super Cup. Let's have a look at the Champions League. Got to the last 16, but they were against Barcelona, so that's big. Looks like they might have won their group. The only defeat coming against Paris Saint-Germain. The other teams in their group, though, CSKA Moscow and Steaua Bucharest. And they won the other 5 games, just the defeat in France. Won them quite big as well. 4-0, 3-1, 3-0, another 3-1. 1-0 win against Paris Saint-Germain. So that's good to see. How about their players? So, of course, with other players gone, with Lewandowski and Götze gone, Mario Gomez and Mandzukic were brought back. Looks like they did okay. Gomez with 16 goals in 18 starts. Mario Mandzukic with 18 goals. And it's frozen. Of course it has. Oh, come on. Why is it frozen? There we go. That's better. So let's go to the top and see who did well there. Wow. Philipp Lahm averaged 7.79. Xabi Alonso 7.56. Jerome Boateng is injured at the moment, but he managed 44 games and got a goal. Alaba also doing well. Badstuber and Müller on 7.45 average. So it looks like a very good performance all around there. Top scorers, Mandzukic with 18. Thomas Müller 16. He really should have been World Player of the Year nomination. He should have been in the shortlist, and I think he got robbed. No, don't get me wrong, the other players are fantastic, but I think Müller should have been involved in that. Gomez was 16 as well as Müller. Arjen Robben on 12. Nils Peterson was 7. Ribery was 6. Schweinsteiger with 5. Javi Martinez, Shaqiri and Targa with 4 each. Scholl with 3. Bernat, Dante, Højbjerg and Pizarro with 2. Boateng and Rafinha were 1. So that's alright. So that is the first season done and dusted. So what we're going to do now is skip ahead another season, go to May 2016, and see if Dortmund can maybe get a bit higher and maybe overtake Bayern Munich and see if they can do any better. I'm actually going to very quickly look at who won the Continental Championships. So Europa League, Sevilla won on penalties, so they defended the Europa League. Did they do that before? Didn't they do that about 10 years ago? They won it 2 years in a row. They did. I remember them beat Middlesbrough, and they won the next year as well, an All-Spanish final in 2007. So for the second time in 10 years, they've actually successfully defended the Europa League. How about the Champions League? The final is still to be contested, and it's Manchester City against Juventus in Berlin. So that's interesting. So I am now going to skip ahead to... what I'm going to do, I'm going to skip ahead a few days and see who won it. So there we go, you see it there. Juventus won the Champions League with a 3-1 win over Man City. So Juventus win in the final, Llorente with 2 goals and Tevez with a goal as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm now going to skip ahead to 2016 and see what happened in the second season. Okay, the second season is over. It's May 2016 now. While I was on holiday, I noticed that Bayern Munich showed up under insecure jobs, which means they might not have done very well this season. Let's go to the Bundesliga and see what happened here. Stages. So Gladbach won that playoff thing. Does that mean they stay up? Yes, it does. Wow. Bayern Munich had a real turn down in form. Finished 5th place on 50 points. Not a lot at all. That's... Wow. That was really bad, actually. Schalke won it. Dortmund came second and were only 3 behind. But Bayern Munich all the way down there. And Pep Guardiola, it looks like he did get sacked. His job was insecure. I'm guessing it was him. Diego Simeone is the new Bayern Munich manager. Who does not leave as the new Atletico Madrid manager? What's that? Atletico. Oh, so essentially swapped. So Guardiola went to Bayern Munich. So they swapped jobs. Alright. So, Dortmund finished runners-up. Let's have a look at their fixtures. I just want to check something very quickly, guys. I've got a dreadful feeling. It's fine. I was absolutely dreading the fact that it hadn't actually recorded my 2014 to 15 bit. But it's fine. It's okay. Right. Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. Well, the first 8 games, they were unbeaten. Big wins there as well. 5-0 win and a 4-1 win. The first defeat came at home to Schalke, who were champions. Also lost at home to Frankfurt and then lost 1-0 to Augsburg. Another big run of unbeaten games. Another 9, I think I can count there. Losing to Schalke 1-0 away. Also losing at home to Hamburg. Those are the only games they lost. And they didn't draw many either. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 draws I'm counting. So they did okay, Dortmund. That's pretty good, actually. How did they do in the German Cup? They got to the semi-final where they lost to Hoffenheim. 3-2 at home. Bayern Munich won it. They beat Hoffenheim in the final. Okay, so that's that. Super Cup. Weren't they in that? No, they weren't. Champions League. They went out in the semi-final to Man City. Man City are in another Champions League semi-final. Another Champions League final, sorry. They lost the first final to Juventus. How did they do in the group, Dortmund? They had Barcelona, Galatasaray and Celtic. Not an easy group. They managed to beat Barcelona 3-1 at home, but lost 2-1 at the Nou Camp. Galatasaray with another big away win. This happened before, I think. 3-0. Beat CSKA in Moscow in the last 16, 3-2 on aggregate. And then beat Benfica in the quarterfinals, 5-2 on aggregate. Before losing 2-1 to Man City in the semi-final. A 1-1 draw at home, and then losing 1-0 at the Etihad. Okay, so that's Dortmund. Let's have a look at how their players did first of all before we move on to the other team. Wow, that's a lot of goals for Robert Lewandowski. 20. Oh well, okay, they're all over the place. 23 league goals from 34 appearances, all of them starts. 34 in all competitions. 6 goals in the cup and 5 in the Champions League. So really good for Lewandowski. Averaged overall 7.40 and 7.36 in the league. How did Götze do? He got 11 goals, it seems. 6 in all in the Premier League. 2 assists, 2 man of the match awards, and 7.13. Didn't do as well as the first season back at Dortmund, but still a pretty decent season again. 11 goals in all competitions. No yellow cards at all. That's good. Did he have any in the first season? Again, no. So no yellow cards or anything either. Who were their best performers though? Marvin Dux. Was that? I think that might have been a signing. Was it? I don't know. Who were their signings? Verratti from Paris Saint-Germain, Xhaka from Gladbach, Roda from Bayern, and Bittencourt from Hanover. Sales. Hoffman to Bayern Munich. Blatzikovsky went to Galatasaray for $1.5 million. And the rest were pretty much loans, cheap deals, and releases. So they did pretty well. So who were their best performers? Again, Mats Hummels at the top, but he's currently injured. A torn calf muscle. Kept him out for 2 months. And he also had a calf strain and broken ribs for 5 weeks. And last season an Achilles injury. So he's had an injury hit a couple of seasons, but has done very well. Subotic again with a good performance. Marco Reus managed to get in 13 goals in all competitions. Götze with 11, as we said. Mkhitaryan got 8. And a few goals here and there as well. Let's now have a look at Bayern Munich after finishing in 6th. Let's see how they did elsewhere. And why did they finish 6th? What happened with their league performances? Okay, so won the first 3 games, but then lost 4-3 to Kaiserslautern. Also lost to Leverkusen and Leipzig. Home defeat against Freiburg, that's pretty bad. 3-1 away defeat against Stuttgart. Lost to Schalke 3-0. Lost 2-1 at home to Leverkusen. Oh dearie, okay. This is bad. This is probably why he got sacked. Because they lost 5 of their last 7 games and only got 4 points from the last 7 games. A goal draw against Wolfsburg and 2-0 win away against Werder Bremen. But they finished the season dreadfully. That may have been due to injuries, and they had another bad spot here where they didn't win in 7. 3 draws there, and again, home defeat against Freiburg, home defeat against Leverkusen. Not good stuff really for Bayern Munich. How did they do in other competitions? So they won the German Cup, we know that. Won 1-0 after extra time against Hoffenheim. Were they in the Super Cup? They were. They won on penalties against Hanover. As for the Champions League, went out in the semi-finals against Paris Saint-Germain, and so that'll be a PSG Man City final, I think. The group, not that bad a group really. Paris Saint-Germain's difficult to get play up against, but the other teams, Sporting Lisbon and Bate Borisov, not too difficult. Sporting are a good team, but they're nowhere near as good as they used to be. I don't think they get through the groups very often. They defeated Porto in the last 16, 4-1 on aggregate, and with a 0-0 draw against Roma at home, they won 3-1 away to win the quarterfinals before losing to Paris Saint-Germain. Are they in the who are they in the final against? Oh, it's already happened. Man City won the Champions League. Where was it that year? It was in Milan at the San Siro. Man City won. Rafa Varane, that's a signing and a half. The only goal in the 11th minute. How much did they pay for him? 30.5 million. Okay. So yeah, that's that out of the way. I do actually quickly want to look at Bayern's squad. Did they make any transfers? Well, quite a few. Kimmich from Leipzig, 5.75 million. Icardi, that's a big signing from Inter Milan. Wimmer from Köln for 20.5 million. Jimenez from Atletico, also Evren from Karlsruhe, kind of cheap deal there. Sold Dante to Chelsea for 4.1 million. Shaqiri went to Inter for 11.25 million. I think that was in the pipelines anyway. That's happened. Peterson went to Freiburg. So that's a player that went back to Bayern Munich because they had sold, of course, Götze and Lewandowski back. I bought Niels Peterson back in, and he's gone to Freiburg for 1.3 million. Any other big deals? Ginter went to Barcelona. Ginter, rather. The only other big deal there, really. A lot of other cheap players. Roda went on a pod exchange as part of the Hoffman deal as well. What I'm going to do now, as I did with my Pjanic experiment, I'm going to go ahead another 3 years, so we'll be 5 years into the save. So I'll see you in May 2019. Oh, wait 1 minute. Dortmund is an available job, so either their manager left or was sacked. What happened there? Jurgen Klopp, has he left or has he been sacked? It's going to go ahead a bit here. That's fine. Right. No manager currently. What happened to Klopp then? Left manager role. Where has he gone? Jurgen Klopp's the Man United manager. Okay, so did Van Gaal get sacked? What happened in the league? Oh, of course, we don't have this. We don't have this league turned on, do we? Who won it? Chelsea won the league. Man United were runners up. So did they sack Louis Van Gaal? Oh no, he retired. Okay, they did say though. He actually said in a report in a interview recently, Van Gaal, that Manchester United will be his last job, and he only lasted not quite 2 years before leaving and retiring. But he is an old man now, Van Gaal. He was an old man anyway. 64 years old. He's now retired as a manager. He's retired from football. So that was his last job. And Jurgen Klopp has joined Man United and Dortmund, and now without a manager. So what happens to their players? We'll see. I'll see you in 2019 and see exactly what happened in the next 3 years. Alrighty. It's May 2019. So we are ready to have a look at the last season. On this episode, what I did with the Pjanic video, Claudio Pizarro is retired from football. He was a Munich player, I believe. So what I did with the Pjanic save was I got to 2019 and ended the video there. But as I did with that, I'm going to revisit this scenario in another 5 years, when 10 years have passed. Because by then, Lewandowski and Götze will probably not be playing as much. So what I'm going to do first of all is have a look at how the teams did overall. So Borussia Dortmund, so they did go back and win the Bundesliga in 2016-2017, and they dropped down to third place in 2017-2018. So let's have a look at the table for the last few seasons. So league table. So this is the next one. So Dortmund did win it in 2016-2017 by 8 points. Bayern Munich coming second. So 5 draws and 5 losses for Dortmund there. Leverkusen in third, not that far behind. And Schalke on 61 points in fourth place. 2017-2018. Dortmund came third, 67 points. Schalke second on 73. And then Bayern won it by 4 points. And this past season, Dortmund did win it by 3 points. Schalke second, and then Bayern in third on 70 points. So both with equal success really. Bayern Munich and Dortmund done very well. So that's good to see. Let's now have a look. Who won some European stuff? Let's see. Go to Europe. Where are they? Champions League, that's what we want. So, the final is still to be contested, so we'll see what happens there in a minute. Because if I continue, then I won't be able to see all the player ratings. So, Real Madrid won it in 2014. Juventus, Man City, Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain won it. And then it's a Real Madrid Bayern Munich final here. How about the Europa League? Sevilla won it twice in a row, as we mentioned. Lyon won it in 2016. It could be a foreshadowing of my save with Lyon, Ligue 1, which I'm doing at the moment. Then Bayern won it 2 years in a row, so they must have gone out in the group stages at one point, or not qualified at all one time, I'm not sure. But no, they didn't finish outside top 4, did they? So they must have gone out in the group stages. And then AC Milan won it in 2019. They beat Dynamo Kiev on penalties. Right, so let's have a look at Borussia Dortmund. And let's have a look at some of the stuff they did. So let's first of all look at some transfers for a while. So 2016-27, right. So we had a look at this season, didn't we? Bittencourt, yep. So we'll go from here. So Ron Robert Zieler from Hanover, Gerhardt from Cologne, Alvaro Morata, that's a good signing. 11.75 million from Juventus. We signed him from not from Juventus, but the team before them, which was Atletico, I think. On my Liverpool save on a Football Manager 2014. Yeah, Atletico Madrid. So, yeah, that was an excellent signing. And then Ginter from Barcelona B. He went on loan somewhere, I think. Sales, a couple of people released. Xhaka to Wolfsburg, Adrian Ramos to Leipzig, Bittencourt. No huge sales there. What about 2017-2018? Gabriel Barbosa from Santos. If I remember, he was a wonder kid last year, or very, very good. But we tried to sign him for someone, but had some trouble. Jurisic from Benfica. Is he the guy that plays for Southampton? Is that him? Yes, it is. And Bittencourt from Bayern Munich. Sales. Shahin went to Napoli. Kagawa went to Stuttgart. Morata went to Atletico, so he literally lasted a season. Gundogan went to Atletico as well, so Atletico buying a lot of players there. Most recently, bought Serge Gnabry from Arsenal and Besic from Atletico. Is that the Besic that played for or plays for Everton? It is indeed. Got a few goals there, but went to Atletico. And then Sales, Bittencourt to Bayern. So he is... What the hell were they doing with him? That is strange. So he played for Dortmund, went to Hanover, came back to Dortmund, went to Bayern, went back to Dortmund, and then went back to Bayern again. Well, that's a weird player. Can't make up his mind where he wants to play. Jurisic also only lasted the season and went to Lille, and then some other players sold as well. So... More importantly, how are Götze and co doing? So Götze's ratings, very good now. He was doing okay, but he's really picked it up. 7.46 average in the league in 2016-2017. 12 goals in 32 appearances, all of which were starts. 11 assists and 5 man of the match awards. 14 in all competitions. 2017-18, bit of a lower rating, 7.22, but still good. He got 10 goals and 14 in all competitions. That's from 42 games in total. And then 2018-2019, his best rating yet, 7.49 on average in the league. 10 goals from 32 appearances, all of which were starts, and 11 assists. Man of the match awards, 4. Now, how about Lewandowski? He looks like he has not skipped a beat at all. Went below 20 for a couple of years, but then back up to 20 goals most recently. So 2016-17, 16 goals. He got 27 goals in all competitions, getting 3 cup goals, and also 8 goals in Europe, because Dortmund must have got it far in Europe. So that's all right. 5 assists and that there, so that's good. 16 in 32. 23 goals in all competitions there, 7.29 average. Averaged over 7.5 most recently with 20 goals, 28 goals in all competitions from 34 league appearances, 7.53, which is good. Who's been their other good players? Well, who's still there for starters? So they've got Gerhardt, Gnabry. So how is Royce doing? Is he still doing well? Still getting over 7, which is good. Got double figures for a couple of seasons. So he's been doing well as Royce. Anyone else that we need to look at? Mkhitaryan, how's he doing? Not having the best of time. He hasn't been, I don't think he's been playing very much. Where's Weidenfeller? Where's Weidenfeller? He's been dropped to the B team, but he is 38 years old now, so there's no surprise there, really. He's been... Oh, my God, that's a long career at Dortmund from 2002. He's been... Well, he's been pushed out of the team by another goalkeeper. Who's the new goalkeeper in Dortmund? Looks like it's this Ron Robert Ziegler. Brought from 2016-17 from Hanover. Looks like he has ousted Weidenfeller. So Dortmund, how have they done in other competitions? Overview, competitions, senior maybe? Is that the place to go? Well, for this season, yeah. But that's no good, really. Have they still got the same manager? Frank de Boer is their new manager after Klopp left for Manchester United. And he's been doing okay. A couple of league wins and a cup win. He looks like he won the Super Cup one year, which is alright. Not in the third round in the German Cup. How do we get around looking for these for the other championships? Let's just do this way. So if we go to, this is the most recent season, isn't it? So we'll see how they did in these things. So the German Cup here, they went out in the second round and lost to Frankfurt. That's not great. And then got to the last 8 in the Champions League, where they went out to Valencia. Their group consisted of Shakhtar Donetsk, Monaco and Galatasaray, which they went through pretty comfortably, only losing to Monaco. The rest of them they won. Benfica in the last 16 won 4-3 on aggregate, with a 3-3 draw in Portugal. That's quite big. And then losing to Valencia on away goals. On to the next season, to 2017-2018. How did they do here? German Cup went out in the third round, losing at home to Hertha Berlin. They won the Super Cup, beating Werder Bremen in the final. As for the Champions League, went out in the last 16, losing to Manchester City 3-0 on aggregate. Their group there, Fiorentina, Sparta Prague and Valencia. Not a bad group, actually, quite favourable that. Manchester City again, so they drew 0-0 and then they lost 3-0 in the Etihad. So that was that. And then the most recent season, again, German Cup, third round, losing to Schalke 3-0 at home, and then the last 16 in the Champions League. Group was Valencia again, AC Milan and Anderlecht, and then Real Madrid beat them 3-2 on aggregate in the last 16. Let's now have a look at Bayern Munich. Looks like they might have had a better time of it. Got a couple of Europa League trophies. Let's see how they've been doing. So fixtures and results. We'll do this first. So let's go there 2015-2016. Do we want this one or do we want the next one? Oh, they had some Super Cup appearances as well. So it's this one we want now, isn't it? Alright, so let's see. Alright, so they won the Europa League this year. They beat Leverkusen in the final. An all-German final there. Arsenal in the semis, Wolfsburg in the quarterfinals, Rapid Vienna in the last 16 and Copenhagen in the last 32. Their group consisted of Miada, Boleslav, Lokomotiv Moscow and Maritimo. As for the German Cup, they went out in the quarterfinal and lost 2-1 to Werder Bremen. Next season, again, they won the Europa League, successfully defended it. Lyon made the final after, well, they won it 1 year, didn't they? Lazio went out in the semi-final of the Europa League. Liverpool were the guys knocked out in the quarterfinals. First time we've really seen them here. Last 16, Shakhtar. Last 32, Club Brugge. They went out in the group stage of the Champions League by Munich. Porto, Milan and Anderlecht to their group, so not an easy one. In the Super Cup, they lost to Chelsea, who won the Champions League. German Cup, they lost to Augsburg. And the most recent season, Super Cup, they won 3-0 against Hamburg. Oh, that's the Community Shield one. And then the UEFA Super Cup, they beat Paris Saint-Germain. German Cup, second round defeat against Schalke. Champions League, they are in the final against Real Madrid, so we'll see what happens there. They beat Chelsea in the semi-final, Arsenal in the quarter-final, Atletico in the last 16, Ajax, Sporting Lisbon and Lyon was their group. I'll have a look at their squad quickly, see what happens with some of their squad, who are some of their good performers and stuff. Actually, no, let's look at transfers first. Try this one first. Domenico Berardi, 31 million from Sassuolo. Bittencourt went back and forth for some strange reason. Sales, not huge sales. Jimenez to Moscow. Vima to Paris Saint-Germain, not huge sales there really. Next season, bought Benteke from Juventus, who must have gone there from Villa. Yes, signed for 25.5 million. Went to Bundesliga, and then he's also went on to Leverkusen after one season. Sales, Kimmich was a sale. Hoffman, Schweinsteiger went to Athletic. How old is he now? 34. Bittencourt went to Dortmund, of course. Went back and forth. And then the most recent season, Schwolo from Freiburg on a free. Carlos from Mineiro. Kramer from Leverkusen, and Bittencourt from Dortmund again. And the sales, Benteke, of course, to Leverkusen. The other ones released. So that's that. So let's have a look at some of their team that's still there. So top scorers. This Carlos guy got 35 goals in all competitions. Berardi got 27. Mandzukic is unhappy. Achieved everything at current club, so he wants a new challenge as Mandzukic. So he wants to move. Anyone else here that's noteworthy? Lahm is still here, 35 years of age. Who's been some of the best players? Lahm, yeah, he's had a huge solid season. 8.01 average in the league. That's amazing. Over 8. So he has been an absolute superstar for them. Still going strong. 35 years old. Did he get any awards or anything? No, he was named in some teams. But that's it really. Supporters Player of the Year. Alright, yeah. So Lahm has been excellent. What about the guys that came back that I brought back? So Mandzukic has done okay, had a bit of a hit and miss, went down to the reserves for a while in one season. Who else did I bring back? Who else did I bring back? Let's go to the shortlist. Aubameyang left, didn't he? Where is he? What other guys did we want to look at? Neuer, Badstuber. I'm sorry, I can't remember who the hell it was. Papastathopoulos is at Monaco now. There's Mandzukic. Niels Peterson was one. He's at Bochum now. I probably said that wrong. Didn't do very well at Freiburg. So that was that. Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for now. So yeah. I'll come back another time. We'll go to 2024 in another video. And we'll see what happened there. See if the managers are still there. See if our players are still playing. See who's retired and how the teams have been doing. As for next week's Scenario Sundays, I'll be returning to the Premier League. And I'm going to give Sunderland a new manager. Because of course, Gus Poyet was sacked. Dick Advocat is a short-term replacement until the end of the season, it seems. So who are we going to choose to be their manager next season? Tune in next time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.